Hello everyone, this is Jeff the Wonderful Pig. As usual, I'm ready to bring you more exciting lores taking place in Wukong's journey to the west. Today's story is the first calamity my old pal Bajie encountered after he officially became a member of the pilgrimage. Well, let me see. There was one day when the team stopped by a small cottage, when Bajie, his mentor, and monkey brother had a fat dinner. The local resident warned them that heading toward the west could be dangerous, and of course, nothing really frightened the legendary Monkey King. But he knew little by then that for the first time, his mentor would be captured by demons or yaoguais, which soon became their routine on the journey ahead. "12 miles from the small village the three pilgrims once stopped at, there stood a mountain named the Yellow Wind Ridge. Local people all said it was full of evil monsters. Unfortunately, it was the path that the three pilgrims had to pass if they want to get the Buddhist scriptures. Upon stepping into the ridge, they were first greeted by a whirlwind. "Shall we stop and take a shelter?" The newly joined pig said. "Nonsense! Let me smell it." The monkey caught the wind and sniffed at it. "Wait, it smells like a tiger." Sure enough, they soon saw a ferocious tiger standing up on hind legs, claiming to be the Tiger Vanguard under the command of the Yellow Wind King. Although he was no match for Bajie, let alone Wukong, he was very cunning. To the surprise of the two disciples, he abandoned his real body, turned into a hurricane, grabbed the unprotected Tang monk, and escaped back to his cave. The Tiger Vanguard presented the Tang monk to his lord, the Yellow Wind King, who was ready to eat the monk due to a legend saying one could gain immortality by consuming the monk's flesh. However, he changed his mind when his vanguard told him that the monk had two powerful disciples. The Yellow Wind King decided to postpone his meal until Wukong and Bajie were no longer his concern. See, that's why you have to overcome procrastination. The Yellow Wind King was right. Wukong and Bajie had no plan to take this lying down. They went straight to the gate and demanded the release of their mentor. The Tiger Vanguard came out to confront Wukong, but he was soon defeated and fled for his life. Before long, he was intercepted by Bajie and killed by the pig's rake. Losing his loyal general, the Yellow Wind King now had to meet an angry Wukong head-on. With his trident against the Monkey King's staff, the two fought for some 30 rounds without having the issue settled. The Monkey King used a Pluck of Many spell and conjured over 100 duplicates of himself, while the Yellow Wind King unleashed his most powerful move, the Samadhi Wind. The wind was so strong that all monkey clones were trapped in the midair, and the Monkey King couldn't even open his eyes. He had to flee from the scene of battle while rubbing his achy eyes. The two brothers lodged in a mansion nearby, and the owner of the house gave Wukong some sort of unusual ointment to cure his eyes. The next morning, Wukong was fully recovered, but to his astonishment, the mansion they stayed in was nowhere to be found. Realizing the owner was actually a divine protector sent by Bodhisattva Guanyin, the two brothers climbed up the mountain again to rescue their mentor. Wukong transformed into a little mosquito and sneaked into the cave. He eavesdropped on the Yellow Wind King's conversations and learned that the only one the Yaoguai King ever feared was a bodhisattva named Lingji. I mean, why are the bad guys always that stupid and talk way too much? Wukong therefore visited Lingji and asked for help. Lingji came to the Yellow Wind Ridge and suggested Wukong lure the demon out. The monkey did as told, and when the Yaoguai King was about to open his mouth and blow out the wind again, Lingji dropped a flying dragon staff, or golden loon staff as it was called in the game, which transformed into an 8-clawed golden dragon and grabbed the Yellow Wind King, forcing him to reveal his true form, a brown marten. Yes, the so-called Yellow Wind Sage was not defeated by Lingji's Wind Tamer. The Wind Tamer was used by Wukong much later in the novel. Lingji told Wukong that the Yaoguai was a rat living underneath the Vulture Peak, where the Buddha gave his sermons, and ran away after stealing the pure oil from Buddha's crystal lamp. Linji took the rat to the Buddha to be sentenced for his crime, while Wukong and Bajie liberated the town monk and continued their journey. Just like the background story of Chapter 1, the story that happened in the Yellow Wind Ridge is very simple and straightforward, with an old-fashioned happy ending. Good guys win, bad guys lose, and the distressed weakling was rescued. But have you ever raised a question about the contradiction here? Why did the Monkey King become so weak? Why was he unable to beat a petty rat now, while he was able to defeat the entire Heavenly Army with a single swing of his staff 500 years ago? Well, you could argue that being trapped under the mountain for 5 centuries impaired his strength, or his magic power was somehow sealed by the Buddha. But a simple, serious, and boring answer is, the monkey who made trouble in heaven and the monkey who escorted the monk, they're not the same monkey originally. Now let's dig into the creation and authorship of Journey to the West. The 16th century scholar Wu Cheng'en was generally accepted as the author of the novel. But according to many contemporary records, the Journey to the West written by Wu was more likely to be a geographic book instead of a novel. Besides the dispute over the authorship, it is also unknown how much of the novel was the original work of the author, and how much was simply compiled and added of the existing folktales. A typical example was what we are discussing here, the highly debated background of Wukong. As I mentioned in the prologue, the concept of Monkey King was very likely to be a combination of the Hindu god Hanuman and the local folk religion from Fujian, where monkey gods were worshipped since the 10th century, long before the novel was written. The original Fujian folklore depicted a demon monkey proclaiming himself the great sage and defying the gods. And in the meantime, a folklore portraying Xuanzang's pilgrims to India became popular in northern China. In that story, the town monk was escorted by a monkey named Hou Xinzhe, or monkey pilgrim. This monkey pilgrim himself was far less powerful comparing to the great sage, so he often relied on divine vessels and help from other deities to win a fight against the Yao Guais he and his mentor encountered. We can reasonably believe that the 18th century author did their best to join the two pieces and merge the two different monkeys into one. And we can also understand the plot holes and inconsistency in storyline was unavoidable in this case. Back to the story in the game. Another thing worth notice is what the Yellow Wind sage said when we met him in the ancient kingdom of Sahali.
Here, at the western end of the world, each day the sun sets and boils the sea. The boiling hiss is sharp enough to ravage babies in their cradles. The people sound drums to counter the impact, but the drums draw this Yao Guai.
The story of Sahali Kingdom was actually told by Bajie in the 59th chapter of the novel. The folklore about sunset was derived from the descriptions of a country named Chabisha in a 13th century work named Jufanji, or Records of Foreign People. The author of the book, Zhao Rukuo, was a member of the Song Dynasty imperial clan and a conventional bureaucrat scholar, who had never traveled outside China. Many entries of his book took information from Arabian traders coming to China. The interesting thing is, a contemporary archbishop, Yuani the Piandao Kaplan, the first papal ambassador entering the court of Mongol Empire, described in his book something very similar but opposite. He recorded the Mongols once attacked the country at the eastern end of the world, but was soundly beaten when the sun rose, causing a horrible noise that killed thousands of soldiers. The Mongols learned afterwards that the local people always played musical instruments at the sunrise to negate the noise, and that's why they were unharmed. Furthermore, the monster that ravaged the kingdom in the game, Fuban, was an insect described by the famous 8th century writer and poet Liu Zongyuan. In the fable, Fuban always picked up everything it found and piled up on its back until finally getting crushed by the load. The author used this fable to warn people not to cling so hard to wealth or power, because they would finally become a heavy burden one was not able to carry. Well, I have to say I couldn't agree more. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Do you like it? If so, please subscribe to this little piggy's channel for more Wukong stories. and don't hesitate to comment on this video to help me improve. See you next time!